By judicial restraint, I mean what it's actually defined as by Black's Law Dictionary, which is not legislating from the bench, not injecting personal political views into a case, and a deep respect for stare decisis. My opponent has used this term a lot, but clearly has no idea what it means. In at least one of her cases I will talk about, Berger versus Tennessee, a person sued for sexual harassment. She lost. She was sued back by her employer. That suit was thrown out as retaliatory by the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, the Court of Common Pleas, and the Court of Appeals. My opponent then authored a decision that disregarded many years of settled law and now allows an employer to sue back a person suing for sexual harassment in the event they lose. Berger went bankrupt defending herself. And the effect that will have on cases in the future does not show judicial restraint. It shows a disregard for stare decisis. I would not have a philosophy along those lines.
Justice O'Connor, please.
Hello? Is this on? Okay.
No problem.
Now it's on. Thank you very much for your question. I think that obviously the buzzword is judicial restraint, and that's been used time and time again. I don't think there's a judge or justice out there that's running a candidate that would say, I want to be an activist judge. So I don't know that those labels are that beneficial. I think one of the things you need to look at is the judge's record when you're trying to decide who you should vote for. And part of that record, I think, is diligence and industry and integrity. As I mentioned in my opening statement, I have authored the most cases in the shortest amount of time to serve the public. We're there to be public servants, and that's our only role. My opponent has the worst record out of all 34 judges on the Common Pleas Court here in Cuyahoga County for diligence in industry and moving his cases. So I don't think that when we're looking at how someone should do their job, we should stop just with the opinions. We need to look beyond and see the diligence in the industry as well.
We have a second question.
I would like to ask Judge Russo, if I could, please. You talked a lot about the influence of money in the campaign. Can you tell us how you financed your campaign and what groups you might have to recuse yourself from under your proposal?
None right now. We did a family and friends plan. Quite frankly, we had people reach out from our campaign across the aisle from both plaintiffs' defense firms, criminal defense bar, the prosecutors, folks that were business owners that were both Republican and Democrat. We did not raise from anyone, unfortunately, or fortunately, anything that would be over the $10,000 limit from any group. I can assure you that probably was not intentional, just the product of being a first-time candidate, but we certainly have to play by the rules that are in place now. And I think when Bill O'Neill decided to say no money from nobody, he got nowhere, which is why I think we have to do more than just identify the problem. We have to come up with a solution to it, and I've done just that.
Justice O'Connor, 30 seconds.
We have very strict financial reporting requirements here, and one of those one of those dimensions of that reporting is to identify the employer so that we can, and the public can determine who's giving money to particular candidates. My reports state that very clearly. I'm in compliance. My opponent's financial reporting, back from when he ran for the Court of Common Pleas, neglected to fill in any employer's information on any contributor. To me, that is not transparency nor compliance with Canon 7.
Thank you. Another question over here, please. Thank you.
Along that lines, my name is Leslie Huff, and I'm an attorney in Cleveland. I have a pretty diverse practice, and I've noted that around the state, most of the people who come before the court are people who look more like me than either one of you. Unfortunately, transparency becomes an issue, therefore. I am using the statistics, Justice O'Connor, that you mentioned, assuming that they're correct, that there was a 72% approval rate, which adds up to about a C average, with an 89% request for or need for greater transparency. I would like for you to tell me how you would personally improve upon those statistics to give people who are working class, poor, minorities of a variety, whether it's racial minorities or ethnic minorities or gender minorities, would give them greater confidence in the court. Because right now, my own personal hearing of confidence is much, much lower than even the C average that you create. So I'd like to hear both of your answers to that question. What would you do that would increase the sense of confidence that people would have in the courts?
Justice O'Connor.
Well, first of all, let me comment that the statistics that I relayed to you are from 2002, before I became a member of the Ohio Supreme Court. And most recently, I think the court has done a significant amount to help individuals who find themselves in dire straits with regard to either our economic conditions, and I refer to the Save the Dream program to help address the foreclosure issue for individuals who find themselves in that situation. I think one thing the court can do and should do and has done is to encourage pro bono representation and to facilitate that with a mentoring program to young attorneys to help them realize that that is not just an option but an obligation. And I think that we have other programs within the court. Now, personally, within my own chambers, I have made it a point to bring in people of gender diversity, sexual preference diversity, and racial diversity to participate as an extern or a law clerk.
Thank you. Judge Russo.
Thank you. I'll tell you the first thing we can do is the Commission on Racial Fairness came out with a report in 2002 that stated to the Supreme Court that they wish to have racial diversity statistics with regard to criminal sentencing collected from our courts, studied for what it means, and then disseminated out amongst the people of the state of Ohio. That has not been done. The court stated that it was interested in doing that it wanted to do that in 2002, but when my good friend Ron Adrian, the judge from municipal court who now heads up the commission, came to me before my run, he said, could you please make this a priority again? So the first thing I would do is order the judges across this state to produce that data. And let us take a look at where we are, because we don't know where we're going with regard to racial equality if we don't know where we are. So let's find out, let's examine it, and let's disseminate it, and start talking about it.
Thank you. Over here.
Yes, this is a question for both candidates, but it comes from a comment that Justice O'Connor made in her opening remarks about the predictability of the Supreme Court. And with all Republicans on the court, I would agree the results are predictable, but is there a place for balance on the court?
And we'll begin with Justice O'Connor.
Thank you very much for that question as well. There is the observation that all of the justices are personally registered Republican, but I think that that's meaningless. I think politics should be meaningless when it comes to the members of the judiciary. I'm offended by my opponent introducing himself as Joseph D, and D stands for Democrat. I think that smacks the face of impartiality. One of the things that I would like to debunk, one of the myths, is that because we're all Republican, we all vote alike. More times than not, we have not voted unanimously on the Supreme Court. Almost 60% of the time, we have divided opinions on the Supreme Court. In some of the most significant cases, they are divided opinions. If you think that politics matter, if you think the fact that all of the justices are personally Republican, then all of our decisions should be 7-0, and that is absolutely not the truth.
Judge Russo, please.
I actually agree with Justice O'Connor regarding the fact that once you enter the chambers and put on your robe, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. However, I'd like you all to, when you get back to your offices today, I want you to go on YouTube, and I want you to pull up a speech, just punch in Maureen O'Connor, and watch the speech she gave on July 8th, 2008, to her Republican friends in Cleveland Heights and South Euclid, where she spends a great deal of time talking about how important it is to have that we have all Republican Supreme Court justices, and that how we as Democrats are attempting to snatch 2 of these seats, and then we might be able to build a new majority because Justice Pfeiffer, God love him, doesn't necessarily vote with the other Republicans, and then we might be able to get someone else to go along, and God forbid we'll have a 4-3 decision the other way.